Streitberg from Buru Energy. Eric, good morning.
Morning, nice to be here again.
Good to catch up, Eric. Look, certainly been a few global developments since you and I last spoke, the likes of geopolitical issues, border reopenings and such. What's been the impact on Buru?
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting time for us. And we had a few anxious moments while the borders were closed as far as getting our people and equipment in. But now the West Australian borders are open. We're obviously very happy that there's no interruption to our operations. We managed to get through them pretty well during the closure period, but it's certainly a lot easier now. And there's even a chance for some interstate and international travel, which we're all looking forward to. On a broader scale, obviously the current issues that we're seeing globally really illustrate how vulnerable the traditional energy supplies are to disruption, and also the fact that there's been so little extra supply coming through because of the low levels of exploration that once there is a disruption, it's very hard for traditional sources to keep up and increase production. And of course, that's led to the dramatic increases we've seen in oil and gas prices.
Well, on that, it wasn't too long ago we saw oil hit $130. You got to be pleased with that. No doubt that'll prove helpful to your Ngani field. What's the latest here?
Well, I think the last time we spoke, we were struggling with our Ungani 8 well and got to the point where our joint venture partner took over that operation on a sole risk basis to try and get the well completed. They had difficulties with that as well, so unfortunately we've had to suspend the well. However, we're now looking at drilling the Ungani 9 well to target that same pool, but using a smaller rig and a simpler well design to try and get that well drilled similarly to how we've drilled other wells in the field and get that well on production and try and capture some of those oil prices.
You've also just finished the test program on the Rafael well. How did those results come back?
Look, we've been pretty pleased with them. And just to remind people, we drilled the Rafael well on a very large structure, and this first well encountered gas in 3 zones, and 2 of which unfortunately behind 7-inch casing now, because we had such a lot of gas influx when we were drilling the well. We had to run the 7-inch casing to close that off so we could drill the well safely. So we've just tested the lower zone out of the 3 zones. We tested 6 to 7 million cubic feet a day, excellent quality gas, very low CO2, which is what you're looking for in these wells, and quite high condensate content as well. We're estimating at about 40 barrels a million at the moment. So from our point of view, we think it's a pretty good result so far.
And you've commissioned a new independent assessment here, have you?
We have. That's being done by a global consultancy called ERCE. We wanted to have something independent so that we could talk to our joint venture partner and to the market, and also to potential gas off-takers with an independent look at the resources in the field, or the discovery, I should say, at this point, and that we're hoping to have available reasonably soon.
What's your reading, Eric, into the pressure currently on the share price?
Look, I think there's 2 things there. Given what's been happening onshore in Australia, and in particular in the Perth Basin, there appears to be a correlation between what people think about flow rates and resources. There isn't a direct correlation between the 2. So even though you might have a very large flow rate, it doesn't mean you have large resources. So I think people took away from the fact that our flow rates were relatively modest. There's no getting around that the resource wasn't there. Well, the resource is definitely there, and we have 2 other zones to test. So when we add the 3 together, we're pretty confident that we're going to have quite a substantial flow rate to back up the resource that we've been seeing. So, and look, the second issue I think is commercialisation. People are worried about what we might do with the gas, and the West Australian gas market is undersupplied. It needs more gas, and particularly if you do a pass-through into the LNG market. And we've already had 2 gas off-takers approach us on the basis of the results that we've seen so far. So that's actually going along pretty well.
I see this update from you. You've hired strategic advisors. Eric, what's the motivation here?
Look, we've got a lot ahead of us, and we tend to be very operationally focused. So sometimes it's good to have someone to walk beside you who can look out into the wider market and look at the commercialisation process and basically provide a level of strategic advice, which it's often difficult to generate internally when you're very focused on the operations. So we're very, very pleased to have a local group who are experienced in this space, helping us out as we go forward.
Eric, you're also looking for a chief executive for Buru.
Yeah, well, I'm the executive chairman of the company, and I have been for a number of years. And that basically means I'm wearing 2 hats, basically as the chairman and the CEO. And given what we've got on our plate, the board's been keen to provide some backup and also give me some time to spend more time on strategic matters in the company. So we've gone out to a professional firm. We also have some very good internal candidates. We've got an excellent team. And hopefully we'll come up with someone who really fits the bill and will help drive the company forward.
So certainly plenty happening here. Eric, what's next in terms of news from you?
We're probably looking at the ERCE report. There'll be some news on the pressure data and the results of that from the well, because we've taken extensive readings on the pressure and the flow rates, and it just takes a little while to analyse all those, and then they'll feed into the ERCE report, and that'll give us some real confidence in what the resource size is.
Good to catch up, Eric. Thanks very much.
Thanks again for your time. It's great to be able to get the message out.